What is up, Gooners, and today we're going to be building this piece of shit all the way back to new. Although this is not quite a normal rebuild, because as you guys know, I just pulled this motor out of my EK coupe, which I'm going to be totally transforming and building up to be the coolest budget build you've ever seen. And with that in mind, I can't just do a normal rebuild, and the part that's separating this from a normal rebuild is I threw some Skunk 2 rods in there, and also a Skunk 2 camshaft, and I guess pretty much everything else you see on this table, which is hopefully going to take this baby to like 300 horsepower once I throw a turbo on it. But today we're going to get started by disassembling, super cleaning, and painting everything so we could get it looking from this crusty ass to being brand new, and that way we can have the shiniest VTEC single cam on the block. Now, could I have swapped this thing when I took the whole motor out, removed the automatic shit? I'm manual swapping it anyway. I could have just thrown a B series in here, K series, anything really, but did I? And the answer is no. Why? Because I'm cheap and I'm selling this shit. So today you guys get to rebuild this motor with me, tearing the whole thing apart and learning how to build a motor. And by the way, if you hear shots in the background, I don't live on O Block. It's just 4th of July and I have nothing better to do than sit in my garage alone and build an engine that's 35 years old. Bro, this is why you don't ask ChatGPT if parts fit. This ain't even the same length, dude. Dog, the rust monster splooged in this thing. This one's for my baby daddy. Ooh. God damn. O Block just dropped a bomb on us. Oh, this breaker bar is as long as Shaq's fucking dick, bro. Oh. Pretend this shit's the homeboy's nipples, if you know what I mean. Alright, since I took out the flywheel, my next idea is to make some combination of putting the flywheel bolts back and wedging a breaker bar or something against the engine stand. No fucking way. Oh my god. Okay, now that that block is totally disassembled, it's another day, and I've made a pretty awesome investment, I think. I got this Y8 head instead of the Y7 head that only has half VTEC. But the last thing that happened before I stopped recording last time was trying to get these pistons out. And it was more difficult than you'd think, because, you know, normally it's supposed to just drop right down and pull out. But the problem that I had with that was actually with these. Now, these rods, if you're not aware, are supposed to be straight, and just about every single one of them is spaghetti noodle. Now, like I said in the other video, this engine ended up sucking up some water in the intake, and you know, this is kind of to be expected. I thought I was optimistic. I thought, you know, it might just be a bent valve or something, but not all 4 rods gone. But yeah, next thing we're gonna do is tear down this head, and that's gonna allow us to just get everything cleaned, because these are garbage, but everything else that's all oil colored and stained, I want to look a little more like this one, or like this one, because this old Y5 head is stinky and this one is beauty. So basically that's what we're doing. This super clean is really good stuff. That's what we're going to be cleaning it with, and then we're going to give everything a nice coat of aluminum for the outside block and head. Okay, I managed to get it zip tied just good enough to keep that pin inside there from coming out. Like if you move it, you could probably get it out, but you just got to put one on both sides or else it'll go too much one side and just like open up on the other. All right, and I've got everything in order and not gonna fall apart right there. So we're gonna set that aside and get the valves out. We ran into a little bit more unexpected damage, which was when I got the cam out of the head. I noticed that this looks like it spun a bearing even though there's no bearing, you know what I mean? But like, you could feel right here where the material, you see how it's like pushed out? It's real fucked up. And this is the Y8 valve train VTEC. That's the important part out of this. The head itself, we can just get a replacement, which I did. And I'm gonna be using this Z6 head, and obviously the valve train is freaking toast, but the cam rides are good and the cam rides on the top are good, and it's actually pretty clean. It just was outside for a while, so it's aluminum, it should be okay. All the rusty bits we're not gonna use. Basically, I'm just gonna be taking the valve train from that Y8 I disassembled, throwing it in this. But something else cool is, have you ever seen such a crusty engine? This is a Z6 block that came with that head. But enough with the bullshit, because we finally have all the parts I need to get started on this thing. So I'm gonna go take everything apart off camera and just start cleaning and painting stuff. Whatever the biggest pan you have is, just fit as much of the super clean as you can in there. This is diluted water, it's about 50-50, and I know it looks disgusting now, but I've just been submerging pretty much every part in it and just letting them wash out. This process is going to be a good example for you guys of just how good this super clean works. I'm going to show you guys how fast it eats away at the oil staining, even on the inside of the actual oil pan, which is probably the worst part of the whole car. And still submerging it with the dirty super clean that I've been using this whole time. All you need is a light agitation and it pretty much all goes away. And at that point, I just get out the pressure washer and I rinse off the rest. Then once it's clean, you're able to wire brush it down and get it ready for paint. I also decided to clean off my transmissions just using a spray bottle, and it actually is crazy how good this stuff works even without submerging it. But after we just get everything else wire brushed the same, we can finally get to the exciting part, which is going to be painting everything. Well, I think I'm finally to the point where now I'm more dirty than all the shit I've been cleaning. These two transmissions came out awesome, and I just cleaned both of them because that's the old one, the new one. I think I'll probably use the old one for something else, but pretty much everything looks like this girdle is just brand new. Oil pump, everything's been clean, but check out how clean and sexy these things are. There's a couple rusty bits just on the outside, not a big deal. And this is my entire valve train setup. I did end up replacing the exhaust valves with different ones because, like this, they all had burnt ass tips, and some of those rides or whatever they are were just totally destroyed. So these are not going to be reused, and then all the exhaust valves also look like that, or intake, I don't even know, but you know, mega fucked up. And I just got this aluminum paint to do that. We're just going to be raw dogging it with no primer, but we'll see how that goes. But real quick, I'm just going to tape up everything and we can get started painting. Y'all actually got nothing on my taping skills because I pretty much disassembled none of this transmission and it's still getting taped off pretty much perfect. It's actually super satisfying as well watching me tape off the head and the block. Making all the cuts around all the gasket surfaces is really time consuming, but it actually looks super cool. I mean, it definitely didn't take me like 30 minutes to tape all this shit up, but it does look pretty good, except for this one part of the valve cover. Although, as far as laziness goes, I do think it's a pretty good idea. With everything taped up though, we can finally spray them down. And check out this Consuela in a can. I mean, this stuff actually just looks like it magically cleans and restores the surface to brand new as you spray it on. This paint is such a good match, it's actually crazy to watch, and it just looks like it turns back into new aluminum again, which is pretty awesome. All you have to do is make sure you get coverage on every single part of these pieces, which last minute I decided also included the inside of the transmission, which was totally worth it because look at how sexy these parts look. This step is actually my favorite part of the process because it's where you go from dreading working on the engine to actually being excited to build it, because all of the parts from this point forward are going to be basically new or actually brand new and just totally clean. Okay guys, just check out how nice these are looking. I mean, I'm actually amazed at how well this came out because I didn't prep that great, to be honest. I mean, I did the best I could, but especially on the transmission, I was low-key just painting over oil on some of it, like here. But I mean, just the total view of the whole thing completed, it's totally worth it. Even if some of it flakes off, you know, I could fix it at that time. But looking at this, that's crazy, because this was the clean one and this was the dirty one, and now this one looks brand new. Yeah, this is going to totally make the whole thing. And then the oil pan looks just the same. Everything is pretty much brand new looking. Even this thermostat housing is gonna look awesome, dude. But shit like this is the valve cover. I mean, it's like crazy. It's not even the color of oil at all anymore. It's just fully new looking, and that's pretty much the same for every single part that I have. Like, this thing changed color. Once I get this all assembled, I think it's really gonna look brand new, and it was totally worth the effort. But yeah, I'm basically just waiting for a camshaft, and then I'm gonna have everything I need. And I put the head on the block just so it takes up less room, but this is the engine that we took out of the car. We're to the point where, like, this girdle is pretty much the only thing we're reusing from that whole engine. I mean, I basically just got a spare engine I can build and reuse on a different build. But either way, I'm having a lot of fun, and I think today's work was totally worth it. So stay tuned for the rest of the build. Next, we're going to be decking the block and resurfacing the head, as well as porting the head, and we're gonna port and shim our oil pump, a whole bunch of stuff. It won't be too long though before we actually get assembling, because I've pretty much got one more part and then we've got everything ready to go. So you guys are going to see a really cool engine build, so stick around and stay tuned for that. I will see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.